Yeah, I think you can see the screen now. Yeah, are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So I think bevel gear forces we took yesterday. Now we'll take up a problem on calculation of radial load, thrust load, and resultant tooth load on okay gears. So please take down this problem. This was asked in January 2020 for 12 marks. Okay, so it's quite easy a problem. So please note down. Please note down this problem. A pair of miter gears, as I said. Okay, miter gears is the shaft angle theta is equal to 90 degrees. Please note down the problem. A pair of miter gears has a pitch diameter 280 mm. Okay, so pitch diameter is 280 mm. That is the pitch circle diameter, or you can take it as D1 and D2. And face width B is equal to 36 mm and runs at 250 rpm. Okay, the teeth are 14.5-degree involute profile and accurately cut and transmits 6 kilowatt of power. Neglect friction angle and then find the following: the outside diameter of gears, then resultant tooth load, tangent to pitch cone, then radial load on pinion, thrust load on pinion. Please note down. Please note down this problem. A pair of miter gears has pitch diameter 280 mm and face width 36 mm and runs at 250 rpm. Okay, the teeth are 14.5-degree involute profile and accurately cut and transmits 6 kilowatt of power. We need to find out outside diameter of gears. Okay, I think for that you need to find module. Yeah, that I missed out over here. Okay, anyway, because addendum will be equal to one time the module. Yeah, anyway, let's look at that later. Okay, so resultant tooth load, tangent to pitch cone, radial load, and thrust load. Okay, are you all there? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Since it is miter gears, the shaft angle theta is equal to 90 degrees. Power to be transmitted is 6 kilowatt. N1 and N2 is equal to 250 rpm, and the velocity ratio, since both speeds are same, so velocity ratio is going to be 1, and D1 and D2 is also equal to 280 mm. Okay, and since power and rpm are given, we can find out the torque transmitted. Once you know the torque transmitted, I can find out tangential tooth load, and then from there I can find tan delta 1 and in turn delta 2. Since it is 1:1, so we are going to get delta 1 equal to delta 2 as 45 degrees only, and then find out um, okay, the resultant normal force, that is then axial thrust and radial force from the equations that we have taken yesterday. Is that okay? Are you there? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please calculate the values using the equations that we have taken earlier. Please let me know the answer of just find out radial load and thrust load and resultant load. Don't worry about outside diameter of gears. As of now. Did you finish? Did you finish with the calculation of these three? Radial load, thrust load, and resultant tooth load. Did you finish with this?
Sir, doing.
Doing, okay. Check with these values. FT, you are going to get it as 1637.1 Newton. Please check. And torque, you are going to get it as 2.29 into 10 power 5 Newton millimeter. Normal force, axial or thrust force, and radial force. These are the values that you should get. Resultant normal is nothing but the normal force Fn.
Yes, sir. Same answer.
Okay. So you're getting the same values?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, fine. Now we need to find out the outside diameter of the gears, no? So outside diameter of the gear, if you have to find out, so we need to find out module. Understand? Okay. I'll just go. Okay, I'll write here. Okay, we have got D is equal to what? M into Z, correct? D is equal to M into Z, and he has given you the pitch diameter to be 280 mm in the problem, correct? So he has given you the value of pitch diameter in the problem, and for 14.5-degree pressure angle, the minimum number of teeth that we should take is how much? Please check the table, table 12.1. For 14.5-degree pressure angle, what is the number of teeth that we should take? Minimum number of teeth that we need to consider. Just take out your data handbook and please let me know the minimum number of teeth for a 14.5-degree. degree pressure angle. Please check what is the minimum number of teeth.
Sir, 20, sir.
20, correct? So it is 20. So I take Z as 20. Pitch circle diameter is given you as D. So that is 280 mm. So 280 divided by 20 will give me how much? So it will give me module is equal to 14, correct? Okay. So pitch circle diameter, so what we need is outside diameter. So if I take that as pitch circle diameter, that is my outside diameter, right? So you need to add module, okay, for addendum here and an addendum there, okay, on both sides. So this is one tooth, and on the other side, this is the other tooth, correct? So, and this is, if I consider it as pitch circle diameter, okay, addendum is equal to 1 time module. So therefore you need to add this plus this distance for me to get what he has asked is outside diameter of the gears, correct? Are you there?
Yes, sir.
So please add for the pitch circle diameter, you add one addendum here, one addendum there, that will give you outside diameter of the gear. Is that okay? Please do it and let me know the answer. Please note down this. D is equal to M into Z. So minimum number of teeth on 14.5-degree pressure angle to avoid interference is 20. So we'll take it as 20. Module we are going to get as 14. So for 14 module, that's going to be equal to addendum. Okay, that's equal to addendum. So you have to add one addendum and one addendum to 280 mm pitch circle diameter. So that should give you the outside diameter of the gear. Proportional bevel. Tooth thickness addendum. Yeah. Hold on for a while. Those who have got data handbook, okay, are you there? Are you there?
Yes, sir.
So proportions of bevel gauge is not given. So we take it as equal to addendum only. Anyway, so what is the answer that you are going to get for outside diameter? It is 280 plus 14 plus 14. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that is the outside diameter of the gear. Is that okay? Others, have you got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So take the next problem. This is a smaller problem again. This was asked for only 6 marks. Please note down this problem. Determine cone pitch angles. That is, you need to find out delta 1 and delta 2. Pitch diameters for the following bevel gears. For a shaft angle of 77 degrees and for a shaft angle of 147 degrees. And he has given you the module as 5 mm, number of teeth on pinion and gear as 14 and 42 respectively. So we need to find out the cone pitch angles. For shaft angle theta is equal to 77. For shaft angle theta is equal to 147 degrees. So two different problems. So find out delta 1 and delta 2 in each of these cases. And also you need to find out pitch diameters. So D1 is equal to MZ1. So Z1 has given you as 14 and module as 5. So D1 is going to be 70 mm. D2 is going to be equal to M into Z2, 210 mm. You are able to hear my voice clearly?
Yes, sir.
Because
Yes, sir.
I'm wearing mask and speaking. I'm sitting in college now. So that's why I'm wearing one mask. So if it is not audible, I'll take out the mask and talk.
No, sir. We can hear, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, did you finish? Are you getting the answers? Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Finished,
sir.
yeah? Finished, yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Next, I'll just recap about bevel gates. Okay. Yeah, before that, all of you, I think I had given one assignment in Google Classroom long ago. Do you remember?
Yes, sir.
So please submit it. I have just given two problems of curved beams. So immediately you send me the assignment because internal marks have to be finalized within next week. Okay, for me. So please send those two problems, and I'll give you some few more problems probably today or tomorrow. Complete that as assignment 2 and submit it to me. Is that okay through Google Classroom or whatever? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Even
Okay.
if you write it and send it as PDF to my mail also, something you do and see that you send those two assignments because 10 marks I need to allot for assignment only. Okay, now? Okay. Anyway,
Yes.
yeah,
Okay, sir.
yeah. So going back to bevel gears, and after this bevel gears repetition, I'll give you one more announcement regarding test. So please hold on for some time. Okay, be online. Okay, so in bevel gears are used for transmitting power between intersecting shafts mainly. Normally the shaft angle is most often it is 90 degrees, though we can have acute and obtuse angle bevel gears also. If the angle between shaft axis is 90 degrees, then such bevel gears are also called as miter gears. Okay. Next, the here the pitch angles is the angle between the gear axis and shaft axis. That is the pitch angle. So for pinion, we take it as delta 1, and for gear, we are going to take it as delta 2. And theta is the shaft angle. And then D1 and D2 are pitch diameters of pinion and gear. And formative number of teeth is the number of teeth in a spur gear having pitch radius equal to back cone distance L. Okay. And then we learned about the bevel gear design procedure. So we find out Z2, okay, as usual, like we did in our spur gear design. Then calculate, for given shaft angle, whether it is acute, obtuse, or right angle bevel gear, we need to calculate the pitch angles delta 1 and delta 2. Then calculate the virtual number of teeth on pinion and on gear using Z by cos delta equation. Then find out Lewis form factors Yg and Yp. Then find out the ratio of Yg and Yp. And from table 12.7, choose two materials, appropriate materials, such that the sigma naught P by sigma naught G of materials, that is static stress allowable static stress of materials ratio to be equal to almost to that of Yg by Yp ratio. And then find out the weaker of the gear pair by sigma naught PYP and sigma naught GYG. Whichever is the weaker of the gear pair, the further design is going to be based on weaker of the gear pair. Then find out surface velocity B. You are going to get it in terms of module in meters per second. Then tangential tooth load, service factor, if not given, we are going to take it as 1.5. And then find out cone distance L given by m by 2. Please note down the equation numbers from your respective data handbooks, right? M by 2 into root of Z1 square plus Z2 square, and B is taken as L by 3. Then Lewis equation given by equation 12.37, and substitute and get m cube CV desired. Okay. And then initially we are going to assume CV to be equal to 0.5, find out the module, and then standardize the module, and then calculate velocity from the step over here. Okay. And then find out CV, and then find out m cube CV actual, and see that m cube CV actual is greater than m cube CV desired. Then find out dynamic load, and then we know how to take the value of C. Okay, C is we take it from velocity to error, and based on the materials that we have chosen over here above, we are going to find the value of dynamic load factor C. And B, we are going to, in bevel gears, we directly, after calculating module, after getting module, we directly substitute over here, get the value of L, and that divided by 3 will give us B. No need of finding out B from Lewis equation in bevel gears. Okay. Then wear load is given by D1 BQK by cos delta 1. So D1 is MZ1. If you take MZ1 by cos delta here itself, don't use cos delta 1 here. Okay, be careful over that. And QE, that is for virtual number of teeth, you need to find out QE. And then considering endurance strength, so calculate, see that wear load is greater than dynamic load for the design to be safe. Okay, and then we solve few problems. And then regarding bevel gear forces, it is the tooth load Ft. The resultant load is given by now Fn, given by Ft tan phi, where phi is the pressure angle. Then axial or thrust load is Fa, given by Ft tan phi into sine delta, and radial force is given by Fr, that is Ft tan phi is common, and instead of sine delta, it's going to be cos delta. So they are the bevel gear forces. This is what we learnt in bevel gears. Correct? Correct? So before bevel gears, we learnt about interference undercutting, and then we learnt about helical gear design. Okay, and then before that, we learnt about spur gear design. Are you all there? Are you all there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we learnt about spur gear design, helical gear design, and bevel gear design put together in module. Module number is what? What is the module number of these gears? Any idea? No idea. Okay, anyway, it is module 3, okay, which consists of gear drives, spur gear design, helical gear design, and bevel gear design. Module 3 completely we have done. So with this, we complete with module 5. Now, next class onwards, we'll go through a little bit in ropes and chains, okay. That is part of module 2, that is along with springs, okay. So we have belts, ropes, and chains along with springs. Is that okay? Springs completely we have done, and then curved beams and to some extent cylinders we have done. Okay, and lubrication and bearings complete module we have done. Module 3 we have done in total. So for second test, please remember, for second test, what are the topics that you will have? What topics you will have for second test? First,
Bearings and lubrication.
bearings and
Lubrications.
and then that's all, only one module, no, it is. So what we'll have is springs, lubrication and bearings, and rolling contact bearings. That is module 2 and module 5. In module 2, it is only springs and lubrication and bearings. Is that okay? For third internals, we'll have probably spur, helical, bevel gears. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Fine. Please convey this message to all your friends who are absent today. Okay. So that is one thing. And regarding assignment, you need to submit, okay, assignment within a day or two. For me, the first assignment that I have sent it long back, and I'll send you one more assignment. So please submit it immediately, okay? As and when it is over, it takes hardly 1 or 2 hours of your time. Sit and complete and submit the assignment. Is that okay? Are you all there? Okay, any other doubt you have? You want any repetition of springs or whatever? Do you want to go through lubrication and bearings? Anything? Anybody? So I think no one is. Yeah. Anybody wants little bit? Now we have another 15 minutes. So should I take you through springs or lubrication? Anything you want?
Yes, sir. Lubrication and bearings.
Lubrication and bearings. Okay. Just wait. Where is lubrication and bearings? Okay. Yeah, can you see the Newton's law of viscous flow screen here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what we have learned here is that, so we have got a journal which is essentially a shaft and a bearing. Okay, between journal which is essentially a shaft and the bearing which is a hollow member, in between what we have is a fluid. Okay. So this one part of it is taken, and here journal is a moving member, bearing is a stationary member. So I have taken a part of it. So here is the moving surface that is denoted by A, and B is a stationary surface which represents the bearing surface. And in between we have fluid present. Okay. So in that, one layer of fluid is taken in the form of a rectangle ABCD. Because of one surface being moving and another surface being stationary, this fluid element is subjected to shear, and it will get sheared into a shape like A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash. Okay. So that's what the description given over here. Consider an element of oil in the film whose okay, rectangle in the form of rectangle. So that gets changed to A dash, B dash, C dash, D dash. And this rate of shear D is given by du by dy. Okay, that is the rate of shear or in the oil film is given by du by dy. So the rate of shear in the oil film is a constant value for any point in the film. So therefore du by dy is replaced by u and h. So what is this u and h? Are nothing but u is the velocity of the surface and h is the height of the surface, that is the difference between moving surface and stationary surface. Okay, so rate of shear depends upon, okay, inversely depends upon h. As the h is less and less, rate of shear is more and more. That means what? That means we'll have the topmost layer being subjected to more shear than the bottommost layer, that is the layer which is attached to the stationary member. The rate of shear is less. The element which is attached to the moving surface will have rate of shear more, because R is equal to U by H. Is that okay? R is equal to U by H, and also the rate of shear will be more if velocity of the moving surface is more. That is rate of shear. Okay. Then according to Newton's law of viscous flow, at any point in a fluid, the shearing stress is directly proportional to rate of shear. That is, tau is proportional to rate of shear. So from there, we are removing the proportionality constant. We are going to get another constant called eta, that is called the absolute viscosity of the fluid. So that is given by shear stress by rate of shear, and its unit is Newton second per meter square or Pascal second. Then we learnt about diametral clearance ratio, eccentricity, minimum film thickness. Okay, and then we derived the expression for Petrov, that is a coefficient of friction in fluid given by Petrov's equation. That is 2 pi square eta n dash. This mu or eta, they represent absolute viscosity. N dash is the speed of the journal in RPS. P is the unit load. R is the radius of the journal. C is the radial clearance between journal and bearing. Okay, so as I said, this is the journal, which is a solid member, and this is the bearing. If you take, so the clearance between the journal and the bearing is the radial clearance with reference to radius. If it is with reference to diameter, it is going to be taken as diametral clearance. Is that okay? So this is the equation for fluid friction using Petrov's equation, right? And suppose if the coefficient of viscosity is given in terms of centipoise, you just multiply that with 10 power minus 3 for getting it in Pascal second. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So what is the difference between C and H then, sir?
Which one? C and
H.
Yeah, see, that is for derivation purpose and to understand rate of shear. Okay. Again, they are one and the same theoretically. If I see C and H, this is nothing but the bearing and journal surface. So that's essentially the difference between these surfaces. But what we are talking about here is, this is the bearing. If I take this is the journal. Okay, in actual practice, so the journal and bearing will have at one point only will have minimum film thickness, rest will have more gap. Okay, more gap over here. But C is exactly half of the distance of diameter. That's the difference between H and C. H is the minimum film thickness. That is at one point how it will be is, so if this is the journal and this is the bearing. Okay, so at this junction where the gap between journal and bearing is very, very less, that is represented as H and subscript as minimum. Okay, that is minimum film thickness. The rest of the place it is more gap over there. Is that okay? One for convergent film and one for divergent film. But the value of C we consider when shaft and bearing are concentric to each other. Are you there? Are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that is the difference between H and C. Okay. And now C is the radial clearance and P is bearing unit load given by W by L into D, and R by C essentially is 1 by Xi, or Xi is equal to, this is very, very important, keep in mind, Xi is equal to radial clearance divided by radius of the journal, or if you take diameters, it is the diametral clearance ratio divided by diameter of the journal. Okay, that you should have clarity. So Xi is C by D, so R C by R. So therefore in Petrov's equation, R by C is replaced by 1 by Xi. So 2 pi square eta n dash by P into 1 by Xi, that is diametral clearance ratio. 1 by Xi is R by C, or Xi is equal to C by R. So if you take radial clearance, use radius of journal. If you take diametral clearance, you take diameter of the journal. So be careful in this conversion. Okay. And then we have got Mackey equation given by K into A, eta, n dash, eta or mu, they are one and the same. Okay, absolute viscosity. Eta n dash by P into 1 by Xi into 10 power minus 10 plus delta mu. So where Ka is a constant, we take it as 1.95 into 10 power 11, and the correction factor for end leakage delta mu is given by 0.002. Is that okay? Are you there? So that is the difference between the Petrov's equation and Mackey equation. Okay, you will get both equations are used for finding out coefficient of friction, coefficient of fluid friction. Are you all there? Are you there?
Yes,
sir.
Okay. So if you are asked to find out coefficient of fluid friction using Petrov's equation, or they may say for a lightly loaded bearing. Lightly loaded bearing is nothing but Petrov's equation and Mackey equation also. So they may ask you to find out coefficient of friction using Petrov's equation, one problem. Coefficient of friction using Mackey equation, another problem. Okay. So this thing, and Xi. Xi is equal to what? C by D or D by C or radial clearance, or so like that you may get the questions, and you may be asked to find out the diameter clearance ratio, everything like that. Or they may ask you to convert centipoise to Pascal second, then Pascal second to Newton per meter millimeter square. So all these things will be there. Are you there? Are you able to catch me what I'm telling? And,
Yes, sir.
and P is equal to unit load, bearing unit load given by W by L into D. What does L and D stands for? Can anyone tell me? What does L and D stands for?
Length and diameter of journal.
Excellent. Okay. Please, others, please listen. L stands for length of the journal. D stands for diameter of the journal. Journal is the moving member. Bearing is stationary member. You all understand? See, in MCQs, all these are very, very important. Is that okay? So, which is the moving member in case of a journal bearing? Journal is the moving member. Which is the stationary member? Bearing. Okay. So that clarity you should have. So bearing unit load, calculate bearing unit load. If I ask you, so then W by L into D you should calculate and let me know the bearing load like that. Okay. Then due to viscous friction, there is going to be heat generated given by this equation, and heat dissipated is given by delta T plus 18 whole square into L into D by K. So delta T is temperature difference, and I given one important observation over here. If oil temperature is given, delta T will be T naught minus T atmosphere by 2. If bearing surface temperature is given, then delta T will be bearing surface temperature minus atmospheric temperature. So please keep this in mind. Is that okay? Okay. And K value is going to be 0.273 for bearings with heavy construction and well ventilated. 0.475 for bearings of light construction and located in still air. Is that okay? So you need to use, say suppose you may be asked to find out heat dissipated in a member. The temperature difference is so and so, and length and diameter of the journal is so and so for a well ventilated. Then you have to use K value as 0.273 to calculate heat dissipated. Is that okay? Are you there? I think I have shared notes also. Did I share the notes of this lubrication and bearing?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I have shared, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Springs also I think I have shared, correct? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So these nitty-gritty details you have to go through, and then as usual, in case of 75 mm long journal bearing, okay, diameter of 75 mm supports a load of 10 kilonewton. So load is W, length of the journal and diameter of the journal, and you will be given with the absolute viscosity value. So convert the Pascal second by multiplying it by 10 power minus 6 to see that the absolute viscosity, you convert it into Newton per mm square always. Then you can keep all these length, diameter, everything in millimeter. Then that makes your life more simpler. Is that okay? And then find out Xi. Then you find out coefficient of friction using Petrov's equation, and then coefficient of friction using Mackey equation. So these are the things you may be asked. And this is the minimum oil film thickness that we were talking about. Okay, and problems based on that. Is that okay? I think that's all I can do. You have another class, I suppose. Okay, next 9:30. So, okay, so please go through that. So tomorrow, maybe if you are there, we will have revision of further lubrication bearings, then rolling contact bearings. I think it's not possible. Springs, we can have one revision class. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay then. Okay then. So regarding test, it is springs and lubrication and bearings and rolling contact bearing.
Yes, sir.
Okay then.
Yes, sir.
Bye. Have a
Thank
good
you,
day.
sir.
Yeah. Bye.